Hey, what's up? My name is J.M. Shaley and welcome to my channel. This week I want to talk about mystery beats. Let me clarify, I want to talk about mystery story beats. The story beats in a mystery story arc. Or I don't want to say a mystery novel because I'm not going to be talking about a mystery novel. Because this is about a mystery story arc. Now, a mystery novel is going to have anywhere from like 33 different story beats. The whole thing is about a mystery. I'm not a mystery writer, so I'm not going to advise you on how to write a mystery novel. But what I will talk about is writing a mystery story arc within your otherwise genred book. So if you want to throw in a little bit of a whodunit or who's behind the thing or whatever, and you want to keep it a little bit of a mystery from your reader, but the genre itself is the book itself is a different genre, this video is for that. So this is sort of a highlight reel for the 30 some odd mystery beats that go into a mystery novel. It condenses it down into some key things that you should contain or could contain to keep that mystery flowing without bogging down the other beats that are necessary for your plot, be it romance or action-adventure or whatever. There are 2 tips I want to give for writing mystery. I don't know if you can call them tips, but there's 2 things to keep in mind when you're talking about any kind of mystery. The first is that your reader is to the detective as the author is to the criminal, right? So that makes sense. You're writing the book, you're writing the story, you don't want your reader to figure it out. You're writing the criminal, you don't want your protagonist to figure it out. The reader is to the detective or the protagonist as the author is to the criminal or the antagonist. The second thing is that your reader should be able to puzzle this mystery out on their own. Now, hopefully it won't be too easy. Hopefully they're not getting in like 6 chapters and it says, oh, the butler did it. But you don't want to get them to the end of the book and you reveal the big reveal or who done it or whatever, and your reader goes, well, this bullshit. There was no way I could have figured that. That's frustrating. We've all gotten to the end of some sort of mystery and the big reveal comes out and you're like, that's a cop-out. You don't want to do that. You want to give them everything they need to solve the mystery. And hey, maybe they solve it ahead of the main character. That's okay. Hopefully they don't solve it too soon. You know, a couple of chapters before isn't too bad. But you want to give them all the ingredients because if you don't, it'll just come off as a cop-out and it's lazy writing and it sucks. So without further ado, let's get into the beats. These are the beats that I think are kind of necessary to pull off a mystery subplot underneath all the other stuff that's going on. So the first thing you want to do is establish the status quo. What's going on? What's the normal life of your hero, your detective, your protagonist, whatever. This is normal, right? We always do this. Before the inciting incident, you show what the normal life looks like. Then something happens. The body's found, right? This is number 2. The body's found. Some mystery reveals itself. We don't know the answer. Number 3 is you start introducing the suspects. As soon as the thing reveals itself, there should be a suspect, at least one, right out of the gate. Maybe it's the widow who's holding the knife, or whatever. Someone's on the scene of the crime, or there's someone you know that probably did it. Oh, so-and-so hated this guy. It was probably him, right? This is probably going to be a red herring, and your reader's going to know it's a red herring, but that's okay because your detective should launch into an investigation and look at the most likely subjects first, or suspects first. Number 4 is you introduce complications. Here's where you might run into some bureaucracy, or you may run into any kind of a roadblock that'll keep your detective, your protagonist, from moving forward with their investigation. Maybe they can't get into someone's house or some other area where they can look for clues. Whatever that is, things start getting complicated. It's not going to be a direct path, clue, 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 solution. Here's where your problems start. Number 5 is your brush with authority. This is where you're going to run into problems from someone. Maybe the person you're investigating has thugs and they send them after you. Or maybe the authority is the police. Or maybe it's a rival private investigator. Or who knows what. This is where those complications manifest into danger for your protagonist. Number 6 is what I would call the final beat in Act 1, which is the introduction of the sidekick. This could be the friend, this could be the Watson to the Sherlock, whatever this person is, this is the helper, the ally, maybe this is the one person on the side of the protagonist during this whole thing. Maybe it's a lover. Anybody, this is the friend. This is the ally, and they're introduced here. Maybe they were introduced before. A lot of these beats can move around within Act 1, but these first 6 beats are kind of your Act 1. Your mileage may vary, you can add stuff, remove stuff, but these are the kind of the core of Act 1, right? Set the stage, introduce the crime, show complications, danger rears its head, and introduce allies. I feel like I forgot one. Oh, introduce your suspects, right? So those are your 6 in Act 1. In Act 2, you have to begin your investigation. You're digging deep into investigations. This is when things start getting thick and you start revealing stuff and showing the reader things. Here's where you set up the promises of what you're going to reveal later, too. The mystery may get deeper or more entrenched. Here's where you show that. The next beat you may want to do is eliminate at least one of your suspects. The investigation keeps going. You may exonerate one of them and say, no, it wasn't this person. Now, while you're doing that, maybe dismissing one suspect, you're lifting up another. Here is your red herring. Now, you may want 1 to 3 red herrings, depending on how heavy you want to have this. Again, I'm not telling you how to write a mystery novel, right? So this is a subplot. So I don't know if you want to lean into a lot of red herrings here. You may not have the time in this alternate arc or underlying arc underneath your main story, right? So maybe you can't introduce 1 to 3 red herrings, but if you can, I would recommend it, because the first red herring may be dismissed by your reader, but the second and third will cloud the waters a little bit, right, and throw your reader off. If you only have 1 red herring, I would recommend the Harry Potter-like method in the Sorcerer's Stone, where you don't even really realize it's a mystery. They just come out of the gate and say, oh yeah, it was Snape. Snape, we got to get Snape. And then you get to the end and you realize it's been a mystery this whole time because it was really this other guy, right? And you may play it that way and just your reader doesn't even realize it's a red herring because they don't know that they're walking into a mystery. You could do it that way. But definitely play with the idea of multiple red herrings. The next thing you want to do is raise the stakes. Things could get more dangerous, definitely, but you could also have the consequences become more dire. What happens when your protagonist doesn't solve this? Is there a time limit? Does someone go to jail? Is someone going to die? Are they going to die? What are the consequences? Here you not only define them, if they haven't been defined already, but you make them more complicated. You dig them deeper into that hole. Maybe time is running out. Maybe things are getting more dire. I don't know, but here in the second act is where things get worse. You also could do a midpoint twist. Here's where you you throw your reader a bone and you reveal something. And sometimes it's a moment, of course, right? But you give the reader something, right? They've been sticking with this all along. Give them something of a payoff, not the big payoff, right? But just something. Here is where that beat could go in. And again, this beat, may not survive if it's just a subplot to your main story, but if you are leaning into this mystery heavily, you may want to give them a little bit of a payoff here in the second act. In the second act, you may also have another brush with authority. Maybe the bad guy sends more thugs after the hero. Maybe the police get more complicated. Maybe there's another faction that's getting involved. This is physical danger. This is real danger. This is a fight. This is a shootout. This is a car being driven off the road. You figure it out, whatever it is. This isn't just raising the stakes. This is tangible stuff that's happening to your protagonist. This could be a break legs moment, right? This is the second brush with authority. This is real danger happening to your protagonist. And the last thing you may want to do in the second act is complicate things with your sidekick. So if you've got the friend, maybe things get worse with them. Maybe they become a suspect. Maybe they get wounded. Maybe they get taken out of the picture somehow. Things get complicated with the sidekick, and that raises the stakes, because hopefully your reader's going to care about your sidekick, and they're going to go, oh no, not so-and-so. I like that dog or girlfriend or boyfriend or friend or whatever. So that's kind of Act 2. Again, these beats can be moved around. Maybe you don't need them all, but you definitely want to stick with kind of the core, which is raising the stakes, causing more danger, more complications, and advancing those investigations, maybe eliminating suspects, and raising up your red herrings. Act 2. Now, before I get into Act 3, I want to ask, if you are liking this video, please go ahead and smush that like button. And as always, please subscribe. It helps me out tremendously if you can support my channel in simple ways like that. It puts my video in front of other people, and hopefully I can reach more people with my content, and that's what I'm here for. So let's start talking about Act 3. Of course, the investigation continues, but here is where your protagonist will hit a dead end. They thought they were marching towards something. Boom, there's another dead end. Now here you may have another reveal after the dead end. They realized it wasn't this, so it must be this other thing. And then you begin your march towards the bad guy, right? Or the bad guy starts closing in on you. One of the two things. Maybe you're getting too close and you don't realize the bad guy's coming in. However this beat kind of pans out in your story best, that's what happens. Then you want to have kind of a near-death experience, right? You don't want to just have the bad guy and the good guy come together and have a big final battle necessarily. Maybe before that even happens, the good guy falls into a trap and gets really hurt, or runs into some sort of other henchman or whatever, gets really hurt. This is the oh my god moment. You're not going to make it. The suspense kicks in, right? This is the break your legs of the protagonist moment, right? It could be the low point, the breaking point, what have you. In the third act, you want to take your protagonist down, only to have them rise up, of course, again, and confront their antagonist. So two separate beats, right? Knock them down, get back up again, and confront their antagonist. Now you have the confrontation. It's the final battle. It's the battle of wits, whatever it is. It could be guns, knives, gravy boats, whatever it is. However they decide to settle this dispute, this is how it comes to an end. And then you write your conclusion. This is the epilogue. This is the fallout. This is the police come and sweep the scene, or so-and-so is exonerated, or someone can come out of witness protection. Who knows what? This is the conclusion. Show your readers what happens after things go back to normal, or about to go back to normal. Now there is one final beat you can do at the end if you want to. And it's called the micro twist. This is the last little zinger at the end, where everything's wrapped up in a nice little bow, and at the very end, bang, you throw in a little final question, or a little final twist. Maybe this person that was dismissed before in the second act really did have a hand in it. Or maybe there's something lingering on that'll continue on to a next book, or next series, or next episode. You don't necessarily need to resolve the micro twist in this book. That's what it's for. It's the last little wah at the end, right? The after credits scene, whatever it is, however you want to call it. one last little gotcha. Could be a cliffhanger, right? It may not need anything to be resolved. It could just be a whammy that the protagonist goes, oh shit, at the end. And the reader goes, oh shit, along with him. Right? You figure that part out, but that's sometimes the very, very last beat of a mystery story or story arc. These are guidelines. This is something that could work for you, and I'm passing them on to you because I've recently written a mystery arc in my own Kindle Vella series, and I had to do this kind of research because I wanted to not only make it entertaining, but I wanted to make it challenging. I didn't want my readers to sit there and go, oh yeah, I know who did this, obviously. You know, I wanted to bait that hook a little bit and reel them in and throw out bullshit and have them bite on wrong things and, you know, a proper mystery. So these are guidelines. This is what I used when I did my mystery arc in the Unlife of Lisa Cooper. You'll see this particular arc in episodes 10 through 20 or 21. I haven't finished, as of this recording, I haven't finished writing the entire arc yet, but somewhere in that vicinity, you'll see this mystery unfold, and you'll see the fruits of this research here manifest in that. So if you haven't checked out the Unlife of Lisa Cooper, please go do so. Just do an Amazon search on it. It's free to read. Vampire goodness, supernatural happenings, and hijinks, and trouble, darkness, right? All good stuff. Vicious fae, old gods. I could go on. I won't. So that about wraps it up. Mystery story beats for your novel or series or story or whatever you've got working on. This is meant to be really high level views of the big beats that go into a mystery. Not how to write a mystery novel, but maybe something that can accompany a story that you're working on in a book that is otherwise genred somewhere else. Okay, so if you like this video, please smush that like button, and as always, please subscribe. I post most Thursdays, and you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Definitely follow me on those platforms for updates on the Unlife of Lisa Cooper, and you can check out content on jmchaley.com. I've got stuff on A Flower in Hell, which I'm still querying, and of course the Unlife of Lisa Cooper. You can sign up for my mailing list, which I'm trying to do better at. And by the way, if you're on my mailing list, it looks like you're going to have to unjunk it because it seems to want to go into like promotions or spam folders. I think this is a common ailment of most mailing lists, if you ever belong to any. So check those spam folders if you're subscribing to my mailing list, and definitely let your mail client know that it's not spam. It's all good news from me. All right. That's about it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.